You might think you notice, but you don't. It might seem like common sense when it comes to budgeting and saving, but what a lot of people don't realize is that there are so many psychological factors that deeply undermine your critical thinking abilities and your attempt to ration. In this video, I'll be explaining the valuable concepts of wants and needs by going over psychological variables and economic principles. In behavior psychology, when it comes to budgeting and saving, there are two components that are vital to understand: delayed gratification and impulse spending. These two fall under the umbrella of discipline, which requires significant efforts to recognize actions you are taking are rational or irrational. Delayed gratification is deliberately waiting a set period of time, participating in self-control, to enjoy and receive satisfaction in the future. In essence, you're creating short-term pain for long-term gain. Let's give an example of how this is relevant in terms of budgeting and saving. When you're budgeting, you will need to differentiate between a want and a need, and that requires regulation. Needs are fundamental essentials in order to survive, and wants are things that will supplement your lifestyle. Some examples of needs are rent, utility, food, transportation, insurance, and basic necessities. Wants consist of hobbies, entertainment, eating out, shopping, traveling, and gambling. Now, if you devour on instant gratification, your priority for satisfaction becomes so significant it now appears to be a need in order to regulate your new normal. As a result, you'll need to cut down on various aspects of your actual needs, leading into an unbalanced compromise. The opportunity cost of the entire set of circumstances is the fact that you waste a tremendous amount of time and resources, which you could potentially use to invest in your future. Through impulse spending your needs, you'll always have trade-offs, which is the effect from the cause or the cause and the effect. In other words, the cost of buying something would make you lose money, which would be the trade-off. You trade your hard-earned cash for the cost of goods and services from our mixed economy. Moreover, by prioritizing factors of your wants, your needs will automatically deduce to maintain that balance for the finite resources you obtain. This is the essence of equilibrium, and the concept of limited resources is what defines scarcity that presides in our society. Let me provide with some examples of a cost and trade-off relationship. A cost for a more expensive car might have higher upfront insurance premiums. The trade-off is the better reliability, safety features, and long-term savings on maintenance. Every aspect of budgeting and saving requires you to analyze the choices and trade-offs, which is what we call cost-benefit analysis. Does buying clothes count as a want or need? It depends. If you don't have any clothes or about to fall apart, that becomes a need. If you do have clothes and they are old and doesn't fit your style, outdated, or perhaps a new coat that you're savoring is eco-friendly fused with carbon fiber for durability and wind resistance and is only on sale for this month, then it is up for you to decide what is considered a want and what is considered a need. It is up for you to differentiate between the two and make conscious decisions on what sort of overlaps you want to make. If your rationalization ends up in a fine line stuck between a want and a need, it is up for you to categorize in one way or the other, regardless of its objective accuracy, based on your interpretations on how your cost-benefit analysis will go. The three things that fall under the gray area I can come up with are a car, gym membership, and a phone. Is a phone a need or a want? In a modern society, you will need a phone in various cases where it will be extremely difficult to sustain a normal life without one. Another example is a gym membership. You don't need a gym membership, as you can do calisthenics and do body exercises at home, but a gym membership gives you the opportunity to expand your fitness goals and endeavors. This applies the same way with a car. If your work is a 3-minute commute by walking, what's the point of having a car? Well, that depends on the individual. Maybe you commute long distances during the weekend for personalized reason. I would recommend for you to rationalize the perspective from the want and the perspective from the need and justify the outcome. But keep in mind, a want isn't necessarily a bad thing. If a want is actively pushing you towards making healthy, positive decisions towards your life trajectory, then the major factor you should consider is the opportunity cost. And the opportunity cost is asking, what will you lose or give up when you make a choice? Think, what would happen if I don't have this want? Will I be able to actively produce the same way without it? Will losing this want deter my ability to do XYZ? If so, then it's probably for the best to keep this want, as it is practical and beneficial. By maintaining both viewpoints, you get the duality from the perspective of obtaining and the perspective of losing. I want you to think of something that conflicts you from a want and a need. And from what you have learned from this video, rationalize your thought process and comment down below. If you found my content valuable, make sure you subscribe, as you will gain much more insight and value from my upcoming videos.